Do you want more success, more growth, more results? Then it's time for the Boundless Success Accelerator from the Modern Observer Group. This isn't your average coaching program. It's where top performers come to dominate. Weekly group sessions, on-demand coaching, a community that's got your back, and a power-packed library of tools to supercharge your business and career. No more excuses, no more waiting. Get in, level up, and start building the life you've been dreaming about. Visit us at modernobserver.com/boundless success to join today. Let's get you to the next level.
We're here because the news is being distorted. We're here because people are being inundated with misinformation on social media. We're here because people are being judged guilty until proven innocent. We are fighting back with facts. This is not a safe zone, so buckle up, Buttercup. This is the raw, naked truth.
Government cuts continue. Russia strikes Chernobyl, a major breakthrough in quantum computing, and more. Welcome to the Raw Naked Truth. I'm your host, Eric Lopkin, and here's the news you need to know. Government cost-cutting continues as opposition mounts. On Thursday, one day after the Trump administration moved forward with its voluntary resignation program that 75,000 of the federal government's 2.3 million civilian workers signed up for, the administration began to lay off newer employees as part of the efforts to cut costs. The layoffs are expected to target most of the 200,000 probationary employees who have usually been in their jobs for less than a year and do not have the same employment protections as longer-standing government workers. Among those let go so far are 1,000 Veterans Affairs staffers, 3,400 Forest Service employees, and 2,000 Energy Department workers, according to the Wall Street Journal. The Department of Health and Human Services plans to slash headcount appear to be moving ahead, as 700 probationary employees at the CDC and an undisclosed number at the FDA received termination notices this weekend, according to the Associated Press. Steve Bannon recently warned Republicans not to cut too deeply into Medicaid, citing the large number of Trump supporters who rely on the program. In a reversal, hundreds of employees fired last week from the National Nuclear Security Administration, who worked on the U.S. nuclear weapons program, were reinstated late Friday night. On Saturday, demonstrators gathered in front of dozens of Tesla showrooms across the U.S. to protest Dodge cost-cutting efforts in the federal government. Israel's United Nations ambassador Danny Danon is making the Jewish state's disapproval of the Palestinian Authority's, quote, relief and early recovery plan, unquote, for Gaza crystal clear. It would be better if they dealt with terrorism in Judea and Samaria and condemn Hamas, Ambassador Danon said. Judea and Samaria are commonly referred to as the West Bank outside of Israel. The PA's plan, which was submitted to the UN Security Council for review, is broken up into 3 phases and will cost approximately $3.5 billion, according to documents. It calls for an international commitment to end the Israeli siege in the Gaza Strip and longer-term changes, the end of Israel's occupation of the State of Palestine, and the achievement of the two-state solution as outlined in numerous UN resolutions, as well as the Arab Peace Initiative, is the only way forward for the State of Palestine and the State of Israel to live side by side in peace and security, the PA's plan reads. Israel agreed to a two-state solution back in the late 1990s, but the Palestinians refused to agree to stop terrorist attacks on the Israeli people. Meanwhile, Hamas did release 3 more hostages, including the last living American-Israeli civilian held in the Gaza Strip. Israel is expected to release 369 Palestinian prisoners in exchange. Israel wants to extend its presence in Lebanon, posing a test to Trump's diplomacy efforts. Ukrainian authorities confirmed that a Russian drone struck the radiation shield that covers the damaged reactor number 4 at the site of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, an incident which comes just hours before Vice President J.D. Vance met with Ukraine's President Zelensky in Munich as the Trump administration pushes for an end to the Russia-Ukraine war. This shelter was built by Ukraine together with other countries of Europe and the world, together with America, all those committed to real security for humanity. The only country in the world that attacks such sites, occupies nuclear power plants, and wages war without any regard for the consequences is today's Russia. This is a terrorist threat to the entire world, Zelensky's statement said. Zelensky on Saturday called for the creation of a European army to boost the continent's defenses, as he warned that Russia was not preparing for dialogue to advance possible credible peace talks. Zelensky said Kiev had intelligence that Russia plans to send troops to its ally Belarus this summer under the pretense of training exercises, dubbing it a new Russian province that poses a direct threat to bordering NATO countries. We must build the armed forces of Europe so that Europe's future depends only on Europeans and decisions on Europe are made in Europe, Zelensky told the Munich Security Conference in Germany, in a nod to seemingly wavering U.S. support for the region's security. U.S. officials sought to reassure Ukraine that it has a seat at the negotiating table with Russia after Zelensky warned that his country wouldn't agree to a peace deal imposed on it from above. The U.S. has made it clear to European allies that it expects Europe to take a more active role in its own defense. The Department of Justice moved to drop charges against New York City Mayor after 7 prosecutors resigned in protest. The resignations from the Manhattan prosecutor's office came after the Justice Department ordered them to drop bribery charges against Mayor Eric Adams. Amid the rift between career prosecutors and the DOJ, a prosecutor did eventually sign the motion to dismiss that was filed. Quantum teleportation has been achieved, according to scientists. Quantum computers that weren't hooked up to one another in any conventional way just ran an algorithm together, a crucial breakthrough that could make it easier to build quantum supercomputers. A team of Oxford researchers engineered interactions between computers that were 6.5 feet apart by transmitting information via light instead of using electrical signals. Getting the computers to work together across their physical distance showed that network-distributed quantum information processing is feasible with current technology, the lead investigator, David Lucas, said. Though some experts think we're still decades away from quantum computers going mainstream, Bill Gates recently said he thinks it could happen in the next 5 years. That's the Raw Naked Truth. You can catch every episode of The Raw Naked Truth at xvadio.com, the Apple Podcasts app, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Audible, Amazon Music, and other platforms that respect freedom of speech. We'll see you next time.